Hey guys, it was about time for the new episode of the Funky Marketing Show, and this time I think is the third time that we have Scott Marker, my friend, back on the podcast to talk about always some different interesting things. Today we're going to talk about something that we didn't talk about that much, but I see people talk about it a lot, and it's definitely something that I'm seeing. We're going to talk about what's behind the obsession with revenue in B2B companies, and we'll touch a little bit about referrals, AI, and a lot of different stuff. So let Scott tell you a little bit more about him and what he does. You need to know that he's a founder of what's the name, Scott? I have always trouble saying the name of the company. MCA,
Yeah, just
and
MCA
then
squared, which stands for mixed customer
Square.
arcs.
Yeah. That's it for all of us who are not native speakers or like close to that. MCA² is the name of the company. He's B2B growth, sales, marketing advisor, trainer, speaker, two times author. We talk about his books on the previous podcasts. We'll definitely mention on this one. And he's also AI enthusiast, which is something that usually you attach to somebody who is like in their 20s, right? But it's happening now, and Scott is right at the verge of the invention that are happening today. So, Scott, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. It's always great being on here. I'm a big fan. Yeah, I like to keep it funky.
Yeah, I always say that, and it means a lot of different things to different people. But I always say the core of it is we activate the customers and we get engaged with them. We are not just like sitting here recording podcasts, writing books, and not actually getting out there. And that's what I call like the funky aspect of the thing.
Yeah, what GSD, get shit done.
Exactly. So let's get down to it. The thing that you mentioned, and I've been talking about it a few times on a podcast, that it seems to me, the thing with revenue, everybody mentions revenue for one, two, or the third reason. And it's kind of an obvious because we're living in the times where efficiency is the word of the year, I think, last year, and it's going to be the word of the year this year. But it seems like a lot of companies have just renamed the roles, right,
Yep.
to be attached to the revenue. So how do you see all the things?
Yeah, I warn about it in my book. It's my second book back there behind me in Broken. And I had somebody actually reviewed it for me. That's actually Carl that used to work at Refine Labs, and now he's moved on over with MJ, rocking it over there at the Collabs, the
Really,
manufacturing place.
I
Anyway,
had I had no idea that he also moved on. Nice.
yeah,
People are
he moved
spreading.
on. Yeah, he reviewed my book, and he said he made a comment too. It's like, why did you kind of post that? You put that part about the RevOps in there. I said that's my warning to everybody that by changing everybody's title to revenue, that now it's revenue marketer, revenue manager, revenue team leader. I got a list of, and so like in the last 2 years, the biggest change on LinkedIn when it comes to titles is either revenue being added or like RevOps, a piece of revenue. And what you're going to, I warned about this, what you're doing is you're going to turn everybody in the company into what buyers hate, commission breast salespeople. They're going to forget about what's right for the customer and be absolutely focused on revenue. And it's happening. And I'll give you a quick, I don't know if you know who Sam Jacobs is, but he is the founder and CEO of Pavilion, which they have over 1,000 startups in. And he just posted a few months back on LinkedIn. It was just funny because he said, now revenue leaders, if you have revenue in your title, yeah, right here, if you have revenue in your title, your average tenure now at a startup, your average tenure is only 17 months. He says, what? That can't be right. He goes, holy smokes, you're going to have 14 jobs in 20 years. And guess what? That's what the average tenure of the salesperson is. So my prediction is coming true, is that the obsession with revenue, we're going to forget about putting the customer first, and we're going to turn into commission breast salespeople.
And that's kind of interesting because like if you look it from the marketing perspective and from the customer perspectives, it means like the company needs to meet customers halfway. Like, I don't know, like I always say Airbnb is doing, like Netflix is doing, beat them halfway, not just wait for the customers to come to them and look everything transactional. And having all the data that we have today and knowing the customers, at least we should know them better than they know themselves, right? We
Right.
still do the wrong things.
No, you're right. It's like, I mean, and that's why it's funny, because a lot of marketers really, want to, most marketers don't want to be salespeople, don't want to be known as salespeople. And now, if you look at even marketers in the past, I've been in sales right out of college for 20 years. I've been in sales, and also I was a marketing leader too, marketing and sales, and I basically did ABM. But if you look at it, companies, B2B companies, if you're in marketing, you retired there at a company. Nowadays, marketers are bouncing around like salespeople. Why is it? Because companies are so focused on revenue, they're not even giving marketers enough time to build a brand, do anything. It's like, oh no, you haven't got something done yet. So I mean, and I listen to your podcast and other podcasts too, and marketers are challenged right now because of the pressure on them to get results so fast, when marketing doesn't always work like that.
I would say it don't work like that for like more than 10 years, but still everything is set up as it was a long time ago, right? At the time, like 10 or 12 years ago, it was everything needed to be transactional because we didn't have other way to get the information from the customers, to get to know them, right? We get the information, so then we can get to know them and speak with them and those kind of things. And they didn't have anywhere else to go. So we have like
Yeah.
television, we have radio, that they need to sit and watch whatever we serve them, right? But now they're in charge, and it changes the game completely.
It does. And like I said, it's and then I always like say, and I've been trying to do a better job on LinkedIn too, is so Scott, what's the answer? Well, I'll tell you the answer is I laid out on my book, and I'm not pushing my book here. I mean, follow me on LinkedIn. You don't have to buy my book. I'll tell you everything in my book. The key is we need the whole company to be customer centric and focus on the customer. And guess what? When you do that, revenue follows. It's that easy. So what we need to do as a company, we need to have everybody on the same team saying, okay, how do we keep it simple? How do we bring in only the right type of customers? Because the traditional model of sales now becoming the way marketing's done, you need to bring anybody in to hit your number, your quarterly number. So we need to say, nope, we're going to have some leadership that gets it. We're going to be 100% customer centric. Everybody, customer service, everyone's going to get it. So how do you do that? Make it a culture, and you're gonna make it a culture. So now marketing and sales and customer service and everybody else in the company all have full salaries. None of this, and none of this. Everybody has different salary. Nope. We'll have full salaries. Now, can they be a little bit different? Yeah, but full salaries, and we're bonused off of what? We're bonused off of customer success. If you bring in the right type of customer service, what customer service rates can help rate customers, like, oh yeah, man, they really understood us. Marketing did a good job because they talked about how they followed our podcast and this and that, and they got us. Oh, and by the way, when sales talk to them, and I say get rid of salespeople, you have advisors, you brag us, and I'll get into this. You brag on social media. We don't have any salespeople, no commission breath people here, only people that care about you. Our advisors here that you talk to, that everybody else has salespeople, that they don't get commissions. They get bonus off of your success. So customer service rates the customers and goes, man, Scott didn't bring in a bad customer. That customer, he did such a great job of setting them up for us. It was an easy onboarding. Then from there, what's your job? Not to cross-sell and upsell. It's cross-serve and upserve. It's a culture. It's all about the customers. And then customer service too, they get bonused off of upserving, cross-serving, and educate. It's all about education. Most customers do not know everything. Their company, especially SaaS companies, if they have multiple products, they don't. So it's called continued customer education. So CCE, I call it continued customer education. And then off of that, so the whole company's rolling the same way. We're all looking at the same boards. How are we going to bring them in? It's none of this fighting over who gets the credit. No. So, and then from there, we go to social media, and you're going to brag on social media and say, guess what, folks? We don't have any commission people here. We get bonus off your success. I tell you, that's a game plan for success here in the future, because all the studies, and Gartner was back in 2001. They did a good sample of, I can't remember, close to 1,000 buyers. Over 50% don't want a salesperson involved. If you're millennial, 72% don't want a buyer. Don't want a salesperson involved. So what's that telling you? Like you mentioned already, is that the buyers have changed, customers have changed, but companies haven't. They're still doing the same old crap. In fact, they're getting worse because they're turning their whole companies into what they hate, salespeople. So there's my game plan that I'm looking for some companies to embrace, because it would work. Because right now with the turnover, companies do not know how expensive turnover is for the company. And right now, the turnover used to be just in sales. Now it's like Sam Jacobs talked about. It's going to be everywhere when you're obsessed on revenue.
Yeah, I agree with all those things. I mean, those are the things that we are seeing right in front of our eyes. And I'm still bothered, how many companies, they wouldn't listen to you or me or anybody else that comes to their company with the stats from other companies.
Yeah.
Right. So I always get the answer from the companies, let's continue doing what we are doing for like 3 months, for example, and measure those things and different things. And then if you prove to us that these things we are doing it wrong, then we'll change the things. But we will waste money for 3 more months. So we can see it on our own example. Right. And that's something, when I hear that, I'm like, unbelievable. And it's all tied to the metrics, everything that you said, right? Usually the way I see, especially marketing these days, basically the company dooms you to fail, depending, or to succeed, depends on the metrics.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, and that's something that I was going to ask you about is, so how much, when you do your consulting, how much you do marketing? Do you ever, if they're doing any type of ABM approach, do you ever get involved in working with the salespeople too, or not? Or you
Yeah,
mainly focus
yeah.
just on the marketing?
Yeah, I mainly focus on marketing, but I work closely with the salespeople always. Now,
Okay.
all depends. I'm literally today I talk with the founder, with the CEO of the company that is focused on SEO. Now is the time to, at least they think so. We'll see how it happens, to introduce demand generation. They didn't have success with a PPC, but they have 25 people in sales. So I assume, probably you are getting customers for your product through outbound, right? 25 people in sales. And they say, actually, no, we didn't have much success from that standpoint. And now it tells me I need to dig deeper, right, into all of this, what they have been doing, what's been working, what hasn't been working. They're doing SEO from 2019, and it's bringing them, CAC payback is on the SEO is like 6 months. So I need to see what are they doing from other sides that doesn't bring them the right payback, and how are things going and what's happening. And usually salespeople are the ones that have the answers, right? And that's what I like to dig. I find one or two people from sales that are the most experienced, and I go talk with them. And then, you know, I don't like going with the salespeople to the calls with the customers. I usually go and do it on my own. Maybe sales can arrange the call, whatever it is, so I can ask all the questions that I can ask, without sales being here to kind of intervene. But when we actually get to the execution, now that all depends. Sometimes we have the same goals for marketing as the sales has, just so we establish the trust in what marketing does. From that perspective, is if they don't have the trust. But if I'm doing it my way, I like to do it and to look at the long-term goal. So it's that the customer that converts at more than 20% and stays with us for like 3 months. So when we have that kind of measurement, then we align what marketing and sales do, right? So we all to think about, okay, those are the right customers. We are not going after MQLs or any leads,
Yeah.
whatever it is. We go with those that will stay with us for a long time. And usually, what I found out, like, sales is always up for it. I didn't ever get like sales don't
Yeah.
want to do to get the right customers, right? So some different things get intervened in the way. It's the politics inside the company. It's the way they are paid, as you say. Like a lot of different
Yeah.
things get in the way. Also, the things when they have like the SDRs and then account executives, like sometimes SDR have the only goal to get the meeting, right? So they don't care if the customer is right. They are paid on the meetings. And I try to basically have the seamless customer experience and buyer's journey, so they come to us, and that becomes the differentiator, right? Because there are a lot of similar companies, like a lot of SaaS companies are similar, a lot of tech companies that they have specific thing related to tech are similar. And what differentiates them, okay, we can have like different visuals, we can have different tagline, but what differentiate most of them is how easy it is for customers to come to buy from us,
Yeah.
right? And not talk to sales in the process. So they
Right.
only need to talk to sales when they are ready for that.
A lot of companies talk about ABM. I listen to podcasts and they'll bring on someone talk about, oh yeah, we do ABM. Most people know it's account based marketing, where in theory and then it went to ABX, which they were saying, oh, we're going to combine even customer service together, which I'm all for, right? It's so, but then I find they add an extra meeting, a week or a month or something, and that's somehow going to make them magically get along with each other. When again, you need to get it. It's always it's always starts at the top. It's poor leadership. It really is. Is it you need to have marketing and sales need to get together and say, okay, market, and they need to understand what it's not. They need to understand what which each other does. And I've said this many times. Why do Yog had me come on his podcast and ask me why, why do I think? Because I've been more years formally director of marketing and sales at two small companies for a little over 7 years. Informally marketing almost my whole sales life. Why? Because the marketing department wasn't doing their job. Why was that? Why would I make content? Because I talk to customers, prospective customers, every single day, and what I saw marketing do it they were in a disconnect. So it's top of funnel content. Marketing writes a lot, which is for everybody, the masses. And I'm at the bottom of the funnel talking to our prospective, sometimes the exact customer, and they're not saying anything what they're saying on top. And so that's why if marketing sales gets together, I hear this all the time. Is it, first of all, how do you make in any company? How do you make ABM work? If you've never done before, you do a pilot program. That one you just talked about. How many salespeople? 25. Take two of the two rock stars and have them partner up with you if you're helping them with marketing or somebody, and say we're going to do a 6-month like case study and see what the results are. And if they're better results, every other salesperson is going to want to do it. The challenge is typically, Mark, again, it's just they don't really work together. It's just it's another meeting, and they're not really working. They're not really doing anything different. It's just, oh, now we know a little bit more what we're doing, but that doesn't mean we're really working together to, work as a team to move in the right direction. And that means feedback on both sides. Feedback, marketing giving sales feedback, and then sales giving marketing feedback, and even product development giving feedback, so that sales understands what's the new things that are coming out, so they can talk better to the customers. Oh, but guess what? Marketing needs to know that too. So it's really a lack of communication and a lack of truly working together as a team, and understanding, what's the best way. And again, we're going back to keeping it simple. What's the best way to find the right type of customers? that fix our products. Then once we get to them, what's the best way to communicate with them? Right. And then how are we going to get to, either have a conversation with them if we do. And then if we do have a conversation, what should that conversation look like? And in the past, for me, what that conversation looks like is that, like you mentioned at the very beginning, a lot of times your customer better than they do. And that's not being disrespectful. Me, in my past, when I was in a marketing sales role, I like dentist offices. After a while, you see patterns of what's wrong with their processes. So I would take letters from other dentist offices that I and my team wrote, because we would say, hey, they love us. Would you write us a reference letter? Of course you would. And then we'd always say, I hate writing them. You want us to write you an outline? Yeah. That, what would you put in it? Well, you guys did this. You guys did that. Well, when you did this so much better. Hey, what about this? Yeah, that too. What about that? Yeah. Okay, I'll write you an outline. And then I'd let one of my ladies that were super good at writing write it up and send it to them. And half the time they didn't change one word. And then we had great content for our website. We had great content. Every time I went to myself or my team, we would provide those to stick them back in the dentist offices. When we solicited them, we would always send referrals from other dentist offices saying that we're really good at what we do. And a lot of times have my name in it. And so it was, anyway. So then once I got in the door, I start listening to their challenges. And sometimes they didn't quite understand them. So I would say, hey, here's the deal. Let me real quick explain what we did for these other two doctor's offices and tell me if it resonates. And I just give a high level couple things. And they'd be going, hey, yeah, that's us too. Why? Because I've done 20 other dentist offices just like them. And so I am going to know things that they don't recognize because they can't see the trees through the forest. You know what I mean? They're in the, anyway. So back to marketing, same thing as, yes, you should be able to understand your customers better. Not always. Each one's going to be somewhat unique. But if you have a vertical market, there's going to be patterns in what a lot of them do and best practices on how you can help them. So
yeah, it always comes down to simplifying things. That's why I'm repeating that these days, because like we always get into these jargons and talk about things, and especially if you look at inside the processes inside the company, and like we talk about revenue, we talk about marketing, we talk about sales, we talk about customer success, and listening to somebody, it seems like we are raising the tension, right? And it seems people get lost inside those things, and when they try to get to write the processes and to get them done, they out of goodwill they overcomplicate things.
yeah.
And I'm always like, get back to basic communications. What do we need to do to basically have the right amount of communications that we need to do the right things to get the right results? So I've been listening to you, and one of the things that I wanted to ask you now, like, how should marketing and sales actually, arrange exchange of informations and those kind of things? How often to share it? But I think the answer is, like, just do it regularly. No matter
Yeah.
how often, whatever it is, do it regularly and do it with honesty and openly. Share results with each other and insights, and that's gonna do it.
And celebrate successes together. That's the key. Again, if marketing's doing their job and help salespeople's job to make it easier, they're going to like them. The challenge is, one, there's no communication. And so let's say they're doing a great job. Why wouldn't you celebrate it and say, like, again, we all talk about the self-reported attribution. I actually mentioned it 14 years in my book that, you ask, why wouldn't every single customer, especially if you advertise on the radio, you have all this marketing stuff going, you have to ask every single customer. So, and then not just once, this is something real important, not just once, because sometimes they don't quite remember. So they might say, oh, I watched your podcast. I'm a fan of your podcast. Oh, okay. That's nice stuff. And then after they go along, now you're in customer service, and that you need to train every step. You need to train people to ask them. Now it's a new person. Oh, hey, we really appreciate your business. The customer service person just saying, again, like, so how'd you find your way to us? Because sometimes you're going to find out that they were, oh, hey, that's right. You know something? I actually was DMing a person with your company. That's right. And all of a sudden you find out the salesperson or a marketer was DMing them through LinkedIn. And that is really what got so they're a fan of your podcast, but really what got them going. Anyway, so the moral of the story is we need to talk about our successes and then also continually figure out what's working and what's not working that we're doing on all the teams. Marketing puts up something that does a campaign and whatever that campaign looks like. And when they are trained, when the customer comes in and maybe they didn't come, they came just straight inbound, not through so, there's no website so they can ask them what it is straight bound. You have to train them to ask them. And if that sales professional hears again and again and again, it's things that marketing did, the podcast, it's a trade show, it's some ad I keep seeing that I finally clicked on, that's going to make them more and more, user-friendly to marketing. So anyways, it's communication and then celebrating the successes and trying to figure out what's working together. That's the key. What's working together. So
yeah, I like that part that you mentioned, celebrating success, because when I work with companies, what I always like to do is connect the self-reported attribution form on a website to a Slack channel where we have the C-level, when we have marketing, when we have sales, when we have everybody. So they can all see when somebody converts, why did they convert, right? So there's no secrets. And then sales can know what's happening, CXO can know what's happening. Everybody knows, what's actually working and who's actually bringing customers to us.
I'd forgotten, you're absolutely right. And actually what I was talking about, I've heard that by several different companies that do that. I love that. And that's every company should do that 100%. Because again, that keeps all the silos away. Hey, we're all seeing what's working. And even if a salesperson says, hey, I did cold outbound, but here's what I did and I've had success, put that in there. Because I'm not 100% against cold outbound. What I am against is companies doing the same thing this is my saying, companies doing the same thing over and over again and expecting not only the same, they expect significantly better results. And a lot of times I find the companies just they do a new marketing campaign and they go right back to 100% cold calling. They start an ABM campaign and they go right back to cold calling. We need to stop, we need to figure out, what's working. And again, I'm not against I'm not against outbound. I just think that we need to, as your company becomes more mature, why wouldn't you have more inbound? That's all I've ever said. If your company's 10 years old and you're getting zero inbound, you're doing something wrong. So because you should be out, right?
Well,
you should have customers refer. You should have, I'll go right into referral. You should have referral partners coming into you. You should have podcasts going on. You should have, I'm not, whatever works for your company, but there should be, over the years, you should be building a brand that drives people to you. You can't, it's inefficient to cold call forever. But I see companies doing it their whole lives. And so the saying my dad always tells me is a lot of companies are successful and by themselves.
Exactly. They keep walking, but they keep shooting in their legs. That's one more appropriate saying. So tell me one thing. I've been thinking about it a lot recently, especially since I'm here in the Balkans. There are a lot of outsourcing technology companies that have been growing up until this moment, up until the first crisis that came through referrals. Right, because mostly they work with a company, they hire their developers, then another company recommends them. They know that they have skilled people, a lot of them that they can use. And basically, when the crisis comes, when companies are not longer referring to them, they say, okay, we maybe need to start thinking about marketing. Okay, the other thing is they need to start thinking about actually turning into the product companies. But when they start thinking about marketing, one thing they say always, I ask, how did you grow? And they say, through recommendations. That's how
Yeah.
we should set up marketing to work, right? And I'm always saying, it's not possible. A sustainable growth through recommendation, it's not possible. They will come if we'll do other things good. If we provide the great service, if we have the great product, whatever it is, they will come. And always when I go back and talk to the customers, it turns out that, I don't know, out of 8 customers, they actually have 2 people recommending them, right? Those are the people moving through the companies, creating startups, moving on, making exits, and they always come back to them because they do the great job. But it's 2 people. It's not like we grew to 800 employees based on 2 people recommending us,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, what do you think about referrals, about the growth? And let's move. You have some specific advices related to referrals as well. How we can, dig deeper into that.
Yeah. I've been talking about referrals for years, and I actually had a section in my book, and my book got too big. And I wanted to keep it, I just didn't want it. I was trying to keep it under, even it's 200 pages. I want to keep it under that, but anyway. So, but referral partners right now are the power of them. People don't understand it. So exactly what you said. In my life, I've tried my best to get my customers referred to me, and yes, I did get some, but not enough to float the boat. I mean, that'd be nice. I mean, if you just everybody, your business is going, that's good. For me, for the most part, is that's one aspect of it. So the next thing you need to do when it comes to referrals is you need to start setting up, and typically it's partners that have your same customers. Right? So good partners have your same customers, but you don't compete against them. So if you're a marketing agency, maybe maybe there's somebody else that does websites, okay, that only does websites. And so, but once they get the websites and stuff, they're getting it up, they're going, I really need help overall with my marketing more than just this website. Oh, well, we have some good partners that do that. So again, the same one. So you need to set up partners, and partners are powerful, super powerful. So you're going to have your customers, informal referral partners, ones that you just agree to send each other business. And then you're going to have, I call them strategic partners. And that's ones where you there's actually kind of 2 steps to that. One where you're going to sign and give them a kickback, a piece of the money. And then I call real strategic referral partners are ones that you actually meet together, just like you do with the rest of your team. And you're going to have whatever that looks like, monthly meetings, week, depends on, how much time you have, what it looks like. And you're going to sit down together and understand, okay, here's our partnership. Now I'm going to actually bring you in with me on my next call, and we're going to do a joint call. So then what's that going to do? You're going to have joint marketing together. So those can be super powerful. And all I got to say is look at the big guys and ladies. HubSpot's, Microsoft right now is doubling down. They used to kind of lean heavy on partnerships with a lot of enterprise. They are doubling down right now on their mid-market partnerships. Because why is that? And then here's the brilliance. I've said, here's the brilliance of good referral partners. And then I have another company that's a franchise, and it's professional. I have 3 groups. We're a bunch of business owners that refer business to each other. And so we are out there listening all the time. So I have a saying, the old school cold calling, you go out and you knock on 100 doors looking for a problem that you can fix. Good referral partners send you customers with problems you can fix. So what are they doing? There's less and less people right now, they say, especially in SaaS, in market. So if you have a bunch of great referral partners, They're listening for people in market, and good referral partners then, again, that usually their customers they're referring. Their customers usually like them, respect them, trust them, like, they'll, like, know, and trust. And so they will sell you before you even talk to them. I have this all the time. Someone refers somebody to me and they'll actually call me and say, hey, Scott, I just sent such and such, and give me a rundown before I even talk to the person. And guess what? When I talk to that person, now they're coming inbound. They've already told the customer they have a problem, right? We need help with sales. I mean, we just can't figure it out. I mean, we hired another sales consultant, and all they did was tell us to do more cold calling. And when they come to me, they're going, Scott, I can't tell you. I mean, he or she talks so good about you. I mean, I'd love to chat with you. Well, of course, let's chat. So now what do good referral partners do? They find people in market, bring them to you, and they help create demand and brand by talking you up, because if they already trust them, and that's why HubSpot and all these companies have become so successful. They've built huge referral partner programs, and they have tons and tons coming at the same time. Now, for a small company, is that easy to do? Well, I say it is to get started, because, and then I'll so that's kind of the big picture stuff on the referral partners and why it's so important. Now I'll segue into a small company. So you're a small company, and I just listened to your podcast the other day, and you say you don't like to be called an agency. You like to be, say, you're a consultant, right? Is that what you say? Okay.
Exactly like that.
Right.
Because I basically scale down from the agency to a consultancy with the execution for one single reason. Okay, for two reasons. First of all, as an agency, you need to accept any clients to be able to pay the people. And second one is usually companies have shitty strategies and I cannot execute the right way. So I need to be
Yeah.
involved in the strategy.
Okay. So perfect. So what I would do, and here's my little, my now we're going to kind of go from good referral partners. They're super important. Again, it is super important. One more little thing on the referral partners too. Old school sales takes forever because you're trying to find the right person. A lot of times you're building a relationship with a gatekeeper before you even get a chance to get in. What do good referral partners do a lot of times? They send you the decision maker to you. You cut a bunch of steps with great referral partners, and a lot of times they're in market. So now here's a little hack I have for the chat, the free version of chat. I did this to a couple of my customers, super successful. Then the first time I spoke in 3 years because of COVID in person, I kind of said, I teased people and said, I'm going to give you a little hack. So referral partners, we need them, okay? Because especially when times get tough, a couple extra deals a year, a month could mean a big difference. So how do you find new referral partners? Again, they're your same customers. So you might know what a few look like because you've already found them over the years. But now you get Chat GPT and you say, hey, I'm a consulting agency, small consulting agency, and my main customers are SaaS. What are great referral partners that I can reach out to, and also are great cross-marketing partners? And please explain why we've be such great partners. And Chat will pump out. And so I asked Chat to pump out 50 at the talk I was at. And I knew some of the owners are going to be in the room. And so I asked, I said, hey, how many people want new referral partners for 2024? Everybody raises their hand. So I have owners that are customers of mine. So I said, like, hey, Stan, he owns a very successful residential commercial inspection company, 30 years. And I say, well, Stan, realtor, mortgage broker, the top 5 he knew. I said, hey, what about number 7? He goes, wow, that's pretty good. What about number 23? That's a great idea. So the key is by asking Chat, you glance down the list and see if there's any aha moments where you go, you know something? That would be a great referral partner. And then Chat tells you why you're a good referral partner. It gives you a script to reach out to them. Anyway, so there's something that I've done. And again, the key is you're not going to call 50 because some of them you're going to go, that's too, you're looking for just one or two to start off with off that list that are going to be, are like ones that you yourself go, why wouldn't I thought we'd be good referral partners? And when you call them, explain to them, it's not like you're selling them, explain to them, hey, I'm like the example I had, hey, I'm Stan, and I own a 30-year-old local home and commercial inspection company. And I was thinking that we would make great referral partners. And I'd love a chance to have coffee with you or a Zoom call and talk about how we could, cross market together. Boom. There you go. Anyway, there's the power right now. There's a hack that that more people need to work on, because referral partners send customers to you. Prospective customer, the right one. And good referral partners, you train them on what good customers look like, so they're not sending you crap. Not a lead, not an MQL. They're sending you pre-qualified people that say they're looking for your services to you. That's the brilliance of great referral partners.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things that I noticed this last couple of months, I think from March to August, I work with Bioscience Institute here in Serbia that is basically working with agri-tech startups, so agri-texture startups. And one of the things that I noticed, all of them work with a lot of different companies when it comes to integrations, right?
Yep.
Because software integrations, hardware integrations, a lot of different stuff. And I'm like, nobody had inside their go-to-market strategy, at least in one aspect, how they can use all those companies that they're using for the integrations to help them reach the customers, because they're all
Those are
established
perfect referral
companies.
partners. What do I
Exactly.
say? What are great referral partners? Great referral partners are have the same customers that you do that don't compete against you. Now, you can have yes, you can have ones that don't have the same type of customers, but there's the ones that are easiest for them because they already have the trust build up with them. So though that is a perfect example right there of where you find, okay, who are our favorite best relationships in our integrations, and go meet with them and try to set up partnerships with them. And again, it's not like you're selling them. You're working together. How can we work together to help us all out to serve more customers and bring in more customers? Now that's perfect. Yep. Even for you, for marketing, that would be something that I would push harder on, would be, because again, marketing is all these different channels, right? It's about how do you get the word out? And one of the ways you get word out is to your partners. And
Exactly.
we all talk about sometimes trade shows are like not the best, and I got ways to make trade shows better, but trade shows always aren't the best to get people. So maybe you don't do trade shows, but referral partners, I'm telling you, uh, it, they're golden if you can get the right ones, and then if you get ones that kind of fizzle out, dump them and go to another one, and vice versa. You got to be a good partnership. But again, for the most part, you
Exactly.
can usually find it. Back to what you said, the best ones are who we're already working with to serve the same customer. Right, if you're bumping, if you're serving a customer right now and you're bumping into somebody that's already serving them doing something else, why the heck wouldn't you have a partnership? So again,
Exactly. Exactly.
there's my little thing where get the free version of, and I did the same thing with Bard. It's free too from Google Bard. They were the lists were pretty damn close, but in my opinion, I do both. I would tweak it, ask for use different words like great referral partners, great cross marketing partners. And again, the key is you're just trying to find a couple that kind of the duh moment, like, why didn't I think of that before? And then call them up and say, let's talk about how we could work together to serve more customers and gain more business.
I love that. I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna tag you into the post. I'm gonna record it, and I'm inviting everybody listening to try to do that. And then
Yeah.
basically tag Scott, tag me. Let's see what you come
Love it.
up
No,
with.
I do. I'm very passionate about that. I love helping people. Again, that's one thing I do every time I speak at or even in a podcast like this. Too many salespeople, they give all this high level BS crap or stuff that isn't going to work. I'm trying to give actionable stuff that you can use tomorrow or today, right? And so let me give you another little quick hack here with chat. Is I have a customer that has a roofing company, and she had I don't remember exactly who it was, but she sent some emails out to some people, and she did actually. By the way, she did what I said to do about chat and did boom, great. So, but she had some emails that people told them they weren't interested. So I said, why don't you take those emails and dump them into chat and say, hey, how can I respond and ask them in a different way to ask them that they should reconsider and give us another chance? 2 out of 10, she did that, and 2 said yes. Right? Boom. So, and then I heard just the other day another podcast. Now this might, I haven't got the paid version yet because as soon as I figure out a use case, I'll be on it tomorrow. But it's a lot more. You can do dump a lot more stuff into it. But anyway, I heard some the other day in a podcast say, okay, let's say your company does proposals. You send proposals into companies. Let's keep it easy. Let's say you sent 6 proposals in the last 6 months, and you had 1 that won and 5 that lost. Dump 5 in that lost. Say these lost. This one won. What's the difference between them? Boom. And maybe there's not a difference, but guess what? Maybe chat will go, here's this one definitely put a lot more emphasis on this, and this. I mean, it's those type of use cases right now with chat and stuff that I'm looking for. And they're like a cheat sheet. And here's something else on the whole AI thing. I say I'm an enthusiast because I'm at least I'm a techie person, but I use chat every single day. Let's go back to my speaking. When I was the company that does this event, they said I helped them market it better than they did almost. And I used chat and asked chat to put out like make people want to come to my talk. Tease people about I'm going to talk about a little hack with AI and chat. And then I said, oh, and add emojis. I'm not in. Before I would have had to pay somebody to make it look pretty and stuff. And then I look at now again. I don't. This is me doing it. I write it first myself, usually with voice. I write it myself first, and then I don't even proofread it. I ask chat to proofread it for me too. But again, so I'm writing it, and sometimes I dump it in the chat, and I can't get it to work. I scrap it. I do it I just do it myself. But a lot of times, chat will add a little bit more. Anyway, but so on chat right now, on emails, you could ask it to, if you're good, ask it to help you on emails. You can ask it to dump on and all this other stuff. Or I heard another thing the other day, and again, it's probably the paid version. Someone went out, and I'm not a web developer, but somehow a website that's doing very, very well, and you can tell it's doing well, and ask chat and stuff why that one's doing so well, and it will tell you. Anyway, goes on and on and on. So anyway,
Yeah,
so there's my little.
you can do a lot of things over there on ChatGPT. I've been training him to help with posts and those kind of things by uploading my bio, my LinkedIn profile, basically as a PDF, and then I'm telling him to use my tone of voice to everything and use my style of writing. And I think we are now recording the course about LinkedIn, probably for the Serbian market, but then we're going to turn it into the book for Serbian and English speaking
Well, congratulations. That's awesome,
people.
man.
Yeah, it's kind of like we figure out we have it all. We're working with companies already have all the materials. Why shouldn't we do it?
Yeah, why not?
And one of the things that I figure out in this January is like how I can use ChatGPT to help people actually improve their headline and about section and target the right customers. And it works like magic if you give him the right insights and how it goes. There are tons of use cases that you can use. Now the paid version even allows you to do the integration with other tools and other apps that people created and made them public. So you can search and use a lot of things. And basically, as we talked about efficiency this year with AI, it gives you the efficiency, but companies still didn't figure out the growth.
Yeah, you said you thought this year was me efficiency again. I think this year is going to be AI.
I mean, I connect AI with efficiency, right? It helps you be more
Yeah.
efficient in what you do. But I was listening also, and it confirmed me what I was thinking about. How it's called, Jason Lampkin from Suster, and he said one of the things that he's seeing is, okay, companies are becoming more efficient, firing people, but for the efficiency reasons. So like the revenue is growing, but he still don't see companies figuring out how to actually grow sustainably.
Yeah.
And that becomes a real problem, and he doesn't see how they're fixing that this year. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean it. I mean that's the key is, and again, like you say, I always say the same thing. Basics is I have a it's my first book, my second book. My first book was called Strategic Selling Cycle, and then I thought, how can it be customer centric saying selling? So I changed it to a strategic customer cycle squared, and it's a circle with the arrows like going around, and it starts with retention because I tell companies I don't want you forgetting about retention. Everybody gets shiny object. I've said it since 14 years ago. Now SaaS companies are all in on has it retain. We got to retain our customers. So retention, I put it first just because to remind people don't forget about retention. Then second is qualifying. The next slice of the pie, and it just goes around. The next slice of the pie, it's a circle. Next slice of the pie is prospecting. And then in my first book, it was closing. How can you close on a freaking house, not on a profitable customer? So you convert. So converting, it's all action. So all of them are prospecting because you never stop. You're always prospecting, always converting, always fulfilling what you once you bring someone aboard, you got to fulfill what you promise. Then you support them. Then you expanding. So that's my, and I tell people all the time, 14, that's almost 15 years ago, I came up with that. And Jeff Bezos said something. I said it before him, and it's in my book. And when he said it, Sangram actually said he said it. So then I sent him a video of it like years before when I was promoting my book that I said it about my book. In my book is that you can't build a company on what's going to change. You have to build a company on what's not going to change. So my strategic customer cycle, retention, qualifying, prospecting, converting, fulfilling, supporting, and expanding. It's been here forever. It's going to be here for another 100 years. Now it's where AI fits in that. Where does your team fit in that? Where do referral partners fit in that? Where do you fit in that as an owner? So that's when you're talking about basics. That's what I say. Let's get back to basics. That it gets confusing. No. Okay. There's a lot going on here. Okay, here it is. Where's your biggest problem right now? Oh, we're having problems with we can't convert anybody. Oh, okay. Well, let's go back upstream, and guess what? You're probably going to find out that maybe you're bad at explain what you do to them, something like that. But maybe going back up to qualifying, you're bringing in maybe marketing is giving you MQLs that haven't been qualified very well, or maybe sales is desperate and bringing people in because they're trying to meet their quarterly goals. Anyway, that's why when you mentioned at the very beginning, you're singing my my tune all the time is when things get confusing, like right now, economy and everything like that. Take it back to the basics. Go, here we go. This isn't going to change. Let's keep it simple. What areas can we improve on? Let's not try to boil the ocean. Let's try to say let's pick a couple things and try to get that first.
Sounds good. I love that. Now tell me one last thing.
Okay.
What are your plans for this year and for the future? What's next for Scott?
Like I said, I have two companies. One's a franchise, so that one's going pretty good. Just local business owners. We all try to help each other grow our business through referrals. And then also we like hacks. I introduced AI to my group, and a lot of them thank me to this day. I did it back in March back in March. And anyway, that's kind of going good. But I really want to try to find some companies that want to embrace my goal that I have in my book, which is have fully salaried advisors, get rid of salespeople, and brag on social media. That's really what I'm looking for going forward. That's my big thing. So, because again, here's the thing. Why did I write my second book? The biggest reason, because what's one of the leading causes of trouble in relationships and marriages? Financial. In sales, for a decade, on average, it's under 2 years. They're bouncing around again and again. There's no stability. It's high pressure job. They lie. They bring you in. They lie to you, and they how easy it is. And then they make you do it by having all that pressure. It can make you even do ethical things. And then that company or a couple companies that are my model, I guarantee you, not only they're going to bring in more customers, they're going to steal the best talent from other companies, because salespeople are sick of the crap that, that the bouncing around from company to company to company. So hey, there's my plans. So what are
Love
yours?
that.
What are yours? Oh, you got a book
Oh,
coming. Yay.
yeah. Hopefully, we're gonna write it until March. That's the plan, and then I plan to do another one. Basically, I'm gonna record the podcast with guests like I do basically a few more days, and then I'm gonna focus on specific topics. Interview like 20 people, come up with also the book around that. Try to create those kind of like growth loops, at the same time working on basically outlining the processes for the team behind me. So like I'm coming into the companies, and if they don't have the right team, I'm bringing my people to do the execution from that way. And because I told you, like, the companies don't know how to set up themselves for growth. They have like young people who knows how to do the performance marketing. They have people in house. They know how to do videos, how to do great design, but they don't have anybody who can see the big picture and align all those things. So I'm coming up with a solution with my team to solve those things, and then we'll see what else is happening. On the other hand, still building the community here in Novi Sad, and then moving to Belgrade. We have around like 600 people on a WhatsApp group and 1,500 people on a newsletter, and
That's awesome.
still twice a month, like average 200 people appear on an offline event. So it's very touchable. It's not like we have those
Yeah.
people in the cloud. They actually appear offline, which means that we are doing a good job. Like last night, we had 30 people on a networking with while bowling, right? And it was kind of
Awesome.
kind of interesting to get a little
Yeah.
sweat and to
Yeah.
talk about business. And yeah, that's about that.
Awesome. That's awesome, man. Well, this is exciting. Well, this has been great. Hey, I like always, I really, really appreciate it. I'm a fan of your show and fan of you. So appreciate you bringing me on. And like I said, my goal always is, I hope the listeners got, a tip or two out that they can apply to their work, and simple gain, find, gain, and retain and expand customers.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. You shared a lot of great insights and a lot of good
Awesome.
information. So we'll see. I'm recording the video in the next days, going through the ChatGPT. Let's see what it brings out.
Cool. Yeah. And yeah, again, you ask it, what are great, right? What you are, exactly what you are, and what are great referral partners that I can reach out to. And then you can also add, and then why are they great referral partners? And then, like I said, and don't kill yourself off thinking you're going to call 50 different people. No, you're glancing down at trying to find one or two that you never thought of before.
Guys, now go back to the beginning. Listen to everything again. Stop when you need to hear something more in depth, or again, reach out to Scott or to me if you have any questions. Scott, as always, thanks for being a huge fan, for being a friend and supporter, and thanks for being here and sharing insights with the audience.
Hey, appreciate it.
Bye bye, guys.